Hello, everyone. Today is my great pleasure to invite Andreas Segerros, who joined Nicox as CEO in June of 2022. Andreas has a wealth of experience in bringing glaucoma drugs to market, and during his tenure as global head of ophthalmology at Pharmacia, he launched Xalatan, which became the first commercially successful prostaglandin F2 alpha drug for the treatment of glaucoma, and the first billion-dollar glaucoma drug. Andreas, thank you for joining us, and please let us know a bit more about your background and what attracted you to Nicox and its product development pipeline.
Well, thank you for the invitation for this interview. It's always a pleasure to get a chance to present Nicox to the broader public in general and the shareholders in particular. To that question, I was attracted to Nicox because its operation strength and a pipeline that is a solid foundation for future growth. From my ophthalmology experience, I know that Nicox has a strong brand equity among the physicians and academic centers, as well as the investor community. Nicox is a fully integrated development company. It has a transatlantic footprint. The company, or I should rather say we, as I've been here for a bit more than half a year now, has a good platform technology, and we will move forward both with organic growth and growth through externally initiated projects.
Okay, thank you. Now, a significant development for the company in late October was the release of top-line efficacy results for Mont Blanc, Nicox's first pivotal phase III study of lead asset NCX-470 for the treatment of high intraocular pressure in patients with open-angle glaucoma. The study met the primary efficacy endpoint of demonstrating non-inferiority to latanoprost for the reduction of IOP, but did not meet the secondary endpoint of demonstrating statistical superiority to latanoprost. How do you see these results in terms of their ability to support a future FDA marketing application for NCX-470, but also in terms of NCX-470 and how it can differentiate itself from current leading first-line prostaglandin drugs for glaucoma, such as bimatoprost, given that IOP reduction is generally viewed in the ophthalmic community as the current standard by which the efficacy of glaucoma drugs is measured?
Well, very good questions. We set ourselves a very high bar in evaluating NCX-470 against latanoprost, the most widely prescribed prostaglandin analog in the United States for the reduction of intraocular pressure. And the good news is that this first phase III trial, Mont Blanc, we easily achieved non-inferiority, which is the key efficacy criteria for approval through the FDA. All other prostaglandins analogs were approved on the basis of the lower bar of non-inferiority to twice-daily timolol. With nearly 700 patients in the Mont Blanc trial, we have a large amount of data to review and to plan to present additional analysis at congresses throughout the year. These analyses could provide further points to differentiating to 470.
Okay. And we know that since following the Mont Blanc results, the company has announced that it is embarking on 2 new phase IIIb studies for NCX-470. Can you elaborate on them and on what sort of data points you're looking for and aiming to evaluate, and on how this may help differentiate NCX-470 from other approved glaucoma drugs once it is approved?
Well, when NCX-470 is a nitric oxide donating prostaglandin analog, which releases both nitric oxide and the prostaglandin analog bimatoprost, giving it a dual mechanism of action. Each of these molecules works through different routes of opening up the outflow of liquid from the eye, hence reducing the eye pressure. High intraocular pressure is one of the key risk factors in glaucoma, which can damage the optic nerve, leading to the irreversible loss of vision and ultimately blindness, as we know. One of these phase IIIb trials will investigate the effect of the molecule on episcleral venous pressure, aiming to tease out the effects of the nitric oxide on the outflow. Nitric oxide may also have a beneficial effect on the retina, or the back of the eye, and we have seen this in non-clinical models. The second trial will therefore be looking at the effects of NCX-470 on the retina using a non-invasive technique called optical coherence tomography angiography. We plan to start these trials later this year, and they're expected to take around a year each to complete. And the data would add to the therapeutic profile of NCX-470.
Okay. Well, overall, from your perspective, what are the attributes of NCX-470 that can make it a successful glaucoma therapy and influence its visibility and market perception based on what we know about the molecule and how it works, particularly including its dual mechanisms of action?
Well, it's well established that incremental improvement of IOP lowering brings clinical benefit to glaucoma patients with regards to disease progression. NCX-470 has demonstrated a strong reduction in intraocular pressure, 8 millimeter mercury to 9.7 millimeter mercury, in a market where, for example, Lumigan states to have 7.5 millimeter mercury, and between 7 and 9 millimeter for Vyzulta. We believe this improvement is due to the combination of two mechanisms of action, nitric oxide and prostaglandin, and around 40% of the patients prescribed the medication for the reduction of intraocular pressure do not achieve the target pressure their physician would like to see using one medication alone. The physician therefore needs to be able to adapt the treatment, such as trying alternative agents by adding other drops or combination products. Given that more drops or potential additional side effects from different medication can reduce the compliance and therefore the efficacy of the treatment, there is a need for novel, safe, effective alternative to be prescribed in such cases. We believe NCX-470 fills that need.
And going, of course, thinking of the potential commercialization of NCX-470, the company recently confirmed that it expects to report results from Denali, the second phase III study for NCX-470 for the treatment of elevated IOP in 2025. Based on this, would you say that 2027 could be a reasonable expectations for commercialization and launch?
Well, the Denali trial, which has a similar efficacy design to that of Mont Blanc, is being jointly conducted and equally financed together with our Chinese partner, Ocumension Therapeutics, with whom we work very closely. The phase III clinical program is designated to fulfill the efficacy requirement for approval in both the United States and China. The Denali trial also includes a safety extension with some patients treated out to 1 year. Taking into account the current recruitment rate and how we expect them to evolve, we expect that the Denali trial can be completed in 2025. There are some additional studies and pharmaceutical development work being done in parallel to ensure that we would be able to file for approval in the United States a few months later after the completion of the Denali trial. And approval would be expected to take another 12 months. Our partner, Ocumension, should be able to file for approval in China as well. Ocumension plans to launch 470 by itself in China, and we're currently looking for a commercialization partner in the United States as well as in Japan.
Okay, very exciting. And moving on to the company's other pipeline assets, I believe about a year ago, the Nicox received favorable guidance for advancing NCX-4251 for dry eye. What are the plans or strategies for moving forward with this product candidate?
Well, it's good that you bring up the other things in our portfolio. And the NCX-4251 is a novel suspension of fluticasone propionate nanocrystals, which is applied directly to the eyelid margin. It was initially evaluated for blepharitis, which is an inflammation of the eyelids. However, we did not meet the primary endpoint in that trial. There is a significant overlap between blepharitis and dry eye. So we looked into the data from this trial in more detail and identified the subset of patients with dry eye, which symptoms improved during the trial. Patients in these trials with moderate to severe dry eye saw a statistically significant improvement versus those on placebo in all of the 8 dry eye symptoms we measured. One sign also improved, and we believe this would be statistically significant in a larger trial. Our subsequent meeting with the FDA identified a route forward for approval of NCX-4251 in dry eye, and we are currently looking for a partner to develop this product outside China, where it is also licensed to Ocumension Therapeutics.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And the company also reported that it will be advancing its other nitric oxide donating molecule, NCX-1728, for retinal conditions. which is rather than glaucoma as had been initially signaled for the company. What factors have led to the decision to focus the development of NCX-1728 and its development towards retinal conditions rather than glaucoma? And what sorts of retinal conditions do you anticipate exploring?
Yeah, the NCX-1728 is a nitric oxide donating PDE5 inhibitor, a novel class of NO donating molecules that is based entirely on nitric oxide mediated activity. Nitric oxide mediated effects are enhanced and prolonged by simultaneous PDE5 inhibition by the same molecule. As mentioned for the NCX-470, nitric oxide plays a role with retinal health. We have evaluated NCX-1728 in different models, including those involving in retinal blood flow, and seen some promising data in this area, which we hope to present at upcoming congresses. We have therefore decided to focus future evaluation on retinal conditions where dysfunctional ocular perfusion and neovascularizations are key features in disease progression. This program is currently preclinical, and we need additional data generated before human trials can be initiated.
Okay. And looking at a bit longer term, are there other therapeutic candidates or areas of development that you think could be promising or that we may see Nicox venture out towards?
Ophthalmology continues to be an area of high interest. We have a strong development team focused specifically in ophthalmology and are currently looking to opportunities to expand our pipeline with additional programs to which we believe our team could add value. So we are an ophthalmology company.
Mm-hmm. And for investors in the life sciences, always, especially in development stage or early commercial stages, the financial runway is always something that's top of mind. Please elaborate a little bit on the company's current funding runway, given the recent completion of a 10 million euro financing.
Our last financing, completed just after the NCX-470 Mont Blanc results were announced, gives us a cash runway into Q2 or second quarter in 2024, so just in under 18 months.
Okay. Well, altogether, it sounds like a very exciting time period for Nicox, given the potentially robust ophthalmic drug pipeline. In closing, what are some of the key upcoming milestones and readouts that we expect from Nicox over the next 2 years?
As we dig further into the data from Mont Blanc trial, we plan to present some of that analysis at the key ophthalmology events in the coming month. We will also be initiating the 2 Phase IIIb trials I discussed on the NCX-470, which we will report in 2024. And then we will have the second Phase III pivotal trial reporting in 2025. So the upcoming 2 years is high on density of information or data points.
Thank you. That's very exciting. And thank you again for joining us, Andreas. And we look forward to further updates and catching up in the near future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you, sir.